So we're going to set this up so that it's kind of like that shot we took in the shop. So I got four corners, and they're on the blueprints. And instead of the dimensions on the size of the thing, let's say this is, what is this, 30 by 30. You're looking for the distance off of this line or off of this line. So let's say, to make it simpler, let's put this point up here. We're going to align the instrument to this line. And so we're setting up over this point. We're going to turn the instrument till it's over this point, and it's just on line with that point, right? And then we're going to hit zero set. So now the instrument's set to 0. So you could do, if you want to do, there's two ways to shoot these points out, to set them out. One is coordinates, and the other is down and out. So in the instrument, you can type in, or a third way, you can just calculate the angle and distance. So let's do the angle and distance first, right? So from the instrument, you're going to get the X and Y dimensions, right? Y is 35 feet, and then this X is 10, and then you're going to calculate the distance this way, free form. All right, so you're going to calculate, you're going to do the math, and you're going to get these dimensions here, right? So now what we need to do is, we're set up here, this is 0, we need to find out what this angle is here, right? Just the angle, right? First, so we're going to go, in your Construction Master, you can go 10 rise, 35 run to get this angle. Here we're going to go A10, and 10 divided by 35. And that'll give us a degree 15.9454. So if you go Alt Tab A, and we're going to end up with 15.9454. Now you're going to calculate the distance, and you can, on your Construction Master, you can just hit diagonal, or you can go square root of 10 squared plus 35 squared, square root of all of that, and then you end up with 36.401 or 405, so it's just rounding up. So there you go. So now you have the diagonal distance. So on your instrument, you're going to you're already set to 0, and you're going to make sure it's set to horizontal right, because it could be set to horizontal left or right. Horizontal right will be 15 degrees, 0.94. Horizontal left would be 340 degrees and 0.05. You want to make sure it's going horizontal right, because we're just doing angle and distance. So once you turn that angle, you know that you're on that point is going to be along that line somewhere, and then you shoot your distances, horizontal distance, make sure it's not on slope, until you close out that number right there at 36.4, and then you can put a spike right there in that point. And then when the spike's almost to the ground, shoot it, and then you got to push it to the right, to the left, in or out a little bit to make sure it's where it needs to go when you're finally at the grade or your hub or whatever, right? You could hub, and then you're going to reshoot it and put a point. And then that's one way. That's the calculation, right? And then there's a way to get into the instrument and do coordinates. Since I did the upgrade, it got slow when I go to delete stuff. Usually I can just delete. So now let's do another one. Let's do this one. We'll call it down and out, but coordinates, right? So you're going to set in the instrument. You're just going to go, okay, I'm on point 0, 0, and then you're going to go. There's two ways it could go north things and east thing, which is yx or xy. So let's just do xy for now, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be something you're more familiar with. Do the same thing here. And a y. So when you do coordinates, you don't need to calculate the angle, right? So this one here, we're going to go t, so the t, we're going to make it 0.1, we'll call that our 0.2, 0.2, and then we're going to call that 10.00, comma, 65.00, and that's going to be, and then you'd have an elevation too, but for right now, this is all you need, right, for this point. So what you do is you put that point in your memory. So you create a job, put this into memory, and then you would go 0.3 would be, no, it's the same y. And it would be 10 plus 30, so it'd be 40, so t 0.3. And then 10 is, it's going to be, instead of 10 in the x direction, it's going to be 40. And 65, right? So let's do this point first. So let's say you put that in your coordinate system. You create your job. You create this point number 2 with 10, 65, and this is xy. And then you do the same thing, right? Calculate the angle. But what it'll do is then you go, then you're going to go to coordinates. You're going to go to the coordinate button instead of angle. And you're going to say, I'm on point. You're going to say occupied point is 0, 0. Right? That's what this is. In fact, let's do this. Set that to 0. And then I'm looking for, and then you're going to say, now I want to shoot stake out point 2, and it's going to tell you that it's already there because you input it, right? And then then all you got to do is say, I want to stake that, and then it's going to tell you the angle, right? You don't have to calculate it because it's going to tell you Alt and A. I was gonna say 8 points. Well, probably give it. It's gonna give it to you in I think there are some instruments you can still stay on degrees, minutes, and seconds, or you can switch it to this. But typically they're gonna be in degrees, minutes, and seconds. Why? Because they can. And then we're gonna set that tolerance to. When you're in degrees, minutes, and seconds, you can just set it to the seconds. So arc second like this is like a 1/16 of an inch at 100 feet. So the difference between 46 seconds and 47 seconds is like nothing. All right, and then you'll turn it to that angle that what it's going to do is it's going to tell you. Let's say you're on this line, and then you plug in this coordinates and you say okay. It's going to tell you 8.46, but it's going to right now, and then it would say the difference is 8.8 degrees, 44 minutes, 46 seconds. And as you turn to the right, and then you finally get along this, line here, you're pointed right here. It's going to say difference is 0 degrees, right? And when you're on 0 degrees, then you can just say, take a shot. And then it'll get you back and forth until you're right on the distance. You know, you're going to take a shot here, it's going to be a little off, here a little off, and then the third shot, fourth shot, you're going to be exactly where you need to be. And then you're going to say stake it. So it's going to say the same thing. It's not going to say the distance. It might tell you the distance, but what it's going to tell you when you take a shot is you got to come in towards the instrument or you got to go away. And when it finally says 0, you're good. So that's how that works. And then this one, let's say, see it, that's coordinates. So really there's only two, right? You can calculate it yourself or you can do the coordinates yourself. Oh yeah, there is in some you can just set, you can do that individually. Say you don't have anything in the memory, you can just put in 10, 65 and then take a shot and it'll walk you through that. Or you can go put them in the memory and then it'll give you those. Same, likewise, taking the shots, let's say you're going to do an as-built, let's say those 4 shots are out there existing. You're going to set up, you're going to get a good baseline here. It's good to keep the numbers positive if you can in the X direction and in the Y direction so that you don't have too many negative numbers. So this, in this case, you say, okay, I'm on 0, 0, and I'm going to swing the instrument and I'm going to put the prism there, I'm going to take a shot, and then it's going to give you the information, the distance and the angle, or it's going to likely what you want to do if you're doing an as-built, you're going to set it up in coordinates. You're going to say I'm on occupied 0, 0, and then you're going to do some side shots, or I don't know what they call them in instruments, different things, but you're going to do the as-built shots. And then it's going to give you in the instrument, it'll say, after you say you're on that point, you take a shot, you're going to say yes. It's going to show you some information, and the information will be T. You're going to tell that if you want, call it 1 right there. You can give it prefixes too, so you can say 0.1 and then like underline or comma, whatever it is, and it'll say 10 or like 0, comma. What did we say that was? 30 feet. Forget it now. Time to go to bed. 35. So it'll tell you 10, 35. 0.00, and then you'll hit OK, and it'll put that in the memory. So then and then you would do that all the way around, and now you have the coordinates of those points. And then, so you see how easy that is. You don't have to worry about. All you need is a good line for a nice repeatable line or a good control line, and then you can just turn it and take shots, and it'll put the coordinates in your machine, and then you can take them back to the shop. All right, so and you can do you take elevation information too. So let's say, for instance, if you're on elevation 100 and you're 5 feet off the ground, you're at elevate. You would set your occupied point as 0, 0, and then the elevation would be whatever 5 feet, or let's say that's 100, it would be 105. And then you take those shots, and it will give you the elevation of those shots too, because it's going to give you right there. It's going to give you a Z also, comma. Let's say 0.25 or something, right? So it'll give you elevations too. And that's how that machine works. So I'm a little tired, so I probably talked a lot for a little bit of information, but it's important that you know it has to do with the angles. And arc second, let's say if you did an arc second, V, 0.100, from there, enter, and then V, J, custom angle would be 1 divided by 3600, enter, JD, 100, and then lock that, enter, control W. I want to take a distance right here and see what's the text, what's the precision. So let's do 10,000 of a foot. That's probably be more like it. So there you go. So at 100 feet, it's I don't know. It's not even a 1/16 of an inch. 0.005 would be a 1/16 of an inch. So it's actually what we can do is here 1 arc second at 100 feet. We could format to the feet and inches and do 12, 3/500ths of an inch is nothing, right? If you scale that whole thing up, let's do this. Because it's tempting to get, okay, I want to get exactly scale, well, times, this is 100, 10, tab, 10. So scale it up, so it's 1,000 feet. Let's do this. Kind of curious, so it is tempting to just go, okay, but when you're, I would set up, there's probably, in most of them, there's a way to set it up to minimum degree reading. This is better. So it's still at the 0. Well, let's just go there. So 1,000 feet, 0.005, a 1/16th of an inch at 1,000 feet. Sounds like it should be like an 1/8 of an inch at 1,000 feet, or a 1/4 of an inch at 1,000 feet. But that's what it's showing. Let's see, Control W. Now I'm just fucking around. Alt M A. But my point is, don't worry too much about the. Oh, I got a difference in the calculation. It's 0.003 text to DMS. Should be to the 1. So it should be 1.00. I should say 1 second. So 0 degrees, 0 minutes, 1 second. So you can see you kind of want to be set up to the 5 seconds, because 5 times that is nothing, right? I mean, it's still like a 1/16th of an inch. All right, so probably set your instrument up to 5 second. I mean, you'll set it up. You can, if you're at 555, it'll hit 5 seconds, and then you hit 0. If you have it on 1 second increments, I'll go into your machine and check it. But 1 second increments is kind of a waste of time. That's it. And then, yeah, hope that it helps you understand how it works. And then for staking out, if you're putting those points, if the points aren't on the ground and you just have the information, you can stake it out. Or if they're on the ground and you're just trying to collect the data, it's called as built, and you're going to collect those points. All right, I'm going to knock out. Sorry I missed you, man, but it's Friday night and I'm just way past my bedtime now. Talk to you later.